The IP address ended up leading police to McInnes inside his home, and that's where investigators say bedrooms were decorated for kids, even though he didn't have any. They say they found a number of different things there, including a childlike doll and children's toys and clothes.
We think that a doll can represent an actual child, especially when you can order dolls specifically, just like you could order a child's baby doll to look like your child. You can order these child's dolls to look like a specific child.
Upon closer examination, we observed something more sinister. This room belonged to a middle-aged, single, childless man. And accompanying those childlike images and posters and toys were hundreds of items of sexual paraphernalia, including posters marked with underwear draped on them, boxes of sex toys, and the childlike sex doll that's already been mentioned.
Nestled within an upscale gated community in Sanford, Florida, one boasting a sparkling community pool, a children's playground filled with laughter by day, and a modern fitness center stood the seemingly ordinary townhouse of Blake Edward McInnes, 1127 Travertine Terrace. This exclusive neighborhood with its manicured lawns, secure gates, and family-friendly amenities was located near an elementary school and also a public park. It promised safety and peace to its children and residents living there. It promised there was no nuts there. On the surface, Blake McInnes blended in. A UCF graduate, a successful digital analyst living quietly in a middle-class gated neighborhood. But behind the closed doors lay a nightmare that authorities would later describe as a full-blown house of horrors. Blake is a single man with no children and had plenty of room in his large 3-bedroom home for all of his man hobbies. Unfortunately, his hobbies were not normal, sane man hobbies, such as fishing, music, gaming, or sports. His hobby was decorating rooms in his own little sick fantasy land for little girls and little boys, like a princess theme room and a My Little Pony theme room. He also had a sports room, but it wasn't for an adult. It was for a little boy. And listen, if you think that's weird, it only gets weirder. Included in these rooms were anatomically correct child dolls. I'm assuming that they were probably both sexes because he had both of rooms. Before we get further into this creepy, disturbing case, if you wanna, then hello, my name is Holly. Welcome to Murder She Shed. If you've never been to my She Shed before, just make sure you smash the subscribe, the button down there, the subscribe button. Because you may not can find this nerdy Southern girl again in this big YouTube world. I sometimes get lost in here. I discuss cases that you might not hear anywhere else because they involve these kind of sick monsters that others are too scared to talk about on YouTube because they get demonetized. And believe me, I'm going to get demonetized. I usually do. Probably 75% of my cases I get demonetized because I pick cases that no one wants to talk about. And some people don't want to hear. But I think they're important and they need to be discussed. So let's get right onto the case. The nightmare began on January 27, 2026, when the Florida Department of Law Enforcement was suddenly inundated with over 70 cyber tips pouring in from the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. These urgent alerts flagged a single user who had been brazenly uploading, viewing, and hoarding images and videos depicting the essay of real children, while also generating and downloading disturbing AI-crafted versions of the same horrors. Investigators quickly traced the IP address and online activity back to 37-year-old Blake Edward McInnes from Sanford, Florida. For nearly 6 weeks, FDL agents built their case in silence. Then on March 9, 2026, they descended on Blake's townhouse at 1127 Travertine Terrace with a search warrant. The door opened to what the Attorney General would later call a house of horrors. What they expected might be a routine digital evidence suite quickly turned into something far more disturbing. The exterior and neighborhood gave no hint of the horror that was to be found inside this home. All the bedrooms in the home were decorated as if only young children occupied them. One room featured pink princess castles and hearts adorning the walls. Scattered throughout that same room was little girls' plastic princess shoes, an assortment of toys and boxes that appeared packed with bedding, stuffed animals, and other childish items, creating an illusion of a little girl's lived-in space. Another area resembled a boys-themed storage or play zone, stocked with cartoon-like footballs, baseballs, basketballs, and soccer balls, as they prepared for a young boy. The master bedroom itself had been repurposed into something even more unsettling. Walls painted pink, matching pink curtains and bedding surrounded by princess wands, tiaras, plastic feathers, unicorn stuffies, My Little Pony posters, doll toys, and other elements straight out of an elementary-aged girl's fantasy world. Hung on the walls were motivational slogans such as, "You're doing amazing, sweetie." This room also contained child-sized toys and little children's underwear and panties, also child-sized clothes. There were child dolls in the room. One of the dolls is described as a 6-year-old child. The look of the home made authorities suspect McInnes was preparing to try and lure children to his house. And how did they really know he hadn't lured children to his house? I suppose they didn't. Authorities found a desktop tower computer in McInnes' bedroom. This tower, along with other electronic devices, including his cell phones, was seized by FDLE Cybercrime Task Force agents for forensic analysis. Investigators described finding thousands of files across the seized devices, a mix of real, SAM, and AI-generated versions. McInnes allegedly used AI tools to create and customize these horrors, crafting his own twisted depiction of children. Among the most chilling digital elements was an interactive AI character that McInnes reportedly created and named Emily. Emily was modeled after depicted as a young 6-year-old child, aligning with the doll's description that was found inside his home. It seems he may have preferred children around that age of 6 years old.
And McInnes made his first appearance in court last week. This is video from it. In that hearing, he asked the judge for help reaching his family. He said his contacts were deleted from his phone. I wanted to track down his mother's phone number so he could get in contact with her. Right now, he is still in jail. Bond set at $350,000. If McInnes is convicted, guys, he could face anywhere from decades behind bars to a max sentence of more than 1,000 years.
Blake McInnes ended up being arrested with 53 counts of possession of SAM and 46 counts of possession of generated AI SAM and 1 count of possession of a childlike doll. This is only one case out of many, many cases in which there was raids that they found child dolls found inside these predators' home. And usually when they raid the home, they are looking for SAM, and then they find these dolls, these creepy dolls. Started about mid-2010, where there was a surge of cheap online imports of dolls, primarily from China and Hong Kong. Border forces and cybercrime units now routinely find these dolls, childlike dolls, during raids triggered by SAM tips, just like I said. Only a handful of states in the U.S. have made buying a child doll legal, like Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Louisiana, Texas, Utah, Hawaii, Arizona, and South Dakota. In these states, possession or even importing the doll can be a felony. Because McInnes was from Florida, he was charged with the possession of these creepy dolls. I don't know exactly where McInnes got his doll from, but there is a company called Trotla that sells these dolls to predators. There's many companies like this. But most of them have went to third party because a lot of places it's become illegal to sell the dolls now. The owner of Trotla, Shin Takagi, openly admits that he is a weirdo. Takagi believes that his dolls provide a public service for men like him. He professes to be helping enact their sexual fantasies in a legal and ethical way. Takagi claims that the dolls could prevent child SA because pedophiles will use dolls instead of children. And actually, some psychologists are siding with him and believe that too, which I find rather disturbing. He reports receiving thank you letters from clients, including doctors, teachers, and celebrities. I'm not surprised with the celebrities at all, who credit the doll with helping them avoid offending against children. Trotla's dolls are anatomically correct replicas resembling, young children. Young as 5, actually. Often with customizable features like movable joints, lingerie options, and heating elements. What makes them particularly disturbing to critics is the range of facial expressions that his designs have. Some dolls appear smiling or neutral, while others look like they are crying or in pain. When asked about this variety, Takagi explained, one must make a variety of expressions to fulfill a variety of client needs. So in other words, he's fulfilling the sadistic needs Law enforcement and criminologists increasingly describe childlike dolls exactly this way, not as a safer alternative, but as an advance embodied from Sam itself. And I agree. Just another step closer to these monsters act outing their real fantasies on an actual breathing child. Look at this doll. I can't even describe how creepy it is. I found this on YouTube, and I don't know whose doll this belongs to. It was just a video on a channel I found, which is creepy that I found this on YouTube to begin with, and to be the only video on this person's channel. I hope you weren't one of my subscribers out there that created this video, because you are creepy. You're a creepo. This brings us to another predator who illustrates just how this can escalate to something even more terrifying than what occurred in Florida. Jason William Forbes is a 39-year-old electrician who lived alone in a 4-bedroom house in Maldives, Australia. Not sure if I said that right. The home was located near multiple schools and daycare centers. The neighbors said he kept mostly to himself, and they only really saw him as he left for and returned from work. Although he appears to live a hermit lifestyle, he has a huge presence on social media.
I don't look like any of those guys.
Here are some tips for making new friends. 1. Leave the house.
No!
His social media profiles show his love for cats, and actually his neighbor's cats. For some reason, he's always filming his neighbor's cats. It's like he likes to kidnap those too and put them in his house, and it's just strange. I think he might have started kidnapping cats first, because every video you see of him, it's his neighbor cat and not his. I don't know, I found that weird.
So this is Buttons. She's a neighbor cat. I don't know which neighbor. She's in my house. She's been having a look around. She's very affectionate. She's got gorgeous blue eyes.
He also loves science, and of course his Tesla. I guess he also loves Elon Musk and Harry Potter, according to a lot of his things on his site. He seemed like a normal gamer guy because there was no signs of his attraction to minor on any of his social media sites. As an electrician, according to social media, he made around $42 an hour. Plenty of money to afford this large 4-bedroom home. By mid-2024, Jason had ordered the importation of an illegal childlike doll from China, which is illegal in Australia. Unlike the U.S., Australia treats this very seriously, and you can receive up to 15 years in prison just for owning one of these dolls. Under Australian law, childlike dolls are classified the same way as Sam. Authorities had already been monitoring concerning online behaviors linked to Forbes. But when that shipment entered the picture, everything escalated. A week after the legal doll was intercepted at the border, authorities finally moved in. At 2 a.m., police arrived at Forbes' home. Forbes initially resisted, shouting for them to leave, but once inside, it quickly became clear why. On his kitchen bar sat a computer still running, displaying the disturbing material that had first drawn investigators' attention. That moment confirmed the seriousness of the situation, the urgency of their intervention. In his bed, investigators located another child doll. He had children's underwear and diapers along with dolls for little girls, like real dolls. Written on a mirror in the master bedroom was a mind map in Forbes' handwriting. It seemed to be a master plan he was going to use when kidnapping a child. It said on it stun gun plus taser, grab plus walk. This is just a small amount of things that could be seen on this mind map. In the rear of one of the extra bedrooms of his home, Forbes had been renovating the attic. At first glance, it might have looked like a normal home improvement project, but investigators quickly realized it wasn't. The space had been carefully enclosed and insulated, modified in ways that went far beyond a typical attic renovation. It wasn't just storage or extra living space, it was designed to be hidden, a fact that became clear as police examined the layout. Forbes had bought wood paneling and soundproofing materials and installed them in this attic, turning the space into a hidden, noise-reduced room. A perfect place to keep a child hidden. Fortunately, it wasn't finished when they found it. He still had a little work to do on it. After authorities were able to get a more in-depth look at his digital devices, They found out why it was so important that he was caught when he was, because it could have been a matter of weeks before he kidnapped a child. He had previously Googled how to build a panic room in a loft. His search history also included volunteer childcare work near me, rubber soundproofing underfloors, Australian Federal Police badge, chloroform, knockout chemicals and gases, and yellow safety house sign. All Googled on his computer. Weird searches. The yellow safety house sign in Australia was a sign that could be placed on a home's mailbox, which designated that home as a safe place for children in trouble. The sign is no longer used because predators were actually using it to gain trust with children, to entice them into their homes. Imagine that. Police said he had also researched how to approach, isolate, and restrain a child, including looking up the monster who kidnapped JC, the little girl that was kidnapped for all those years, and he actually had children with her. He was looking her up, trying to figure out how he could do the same, I suppose. Impersonating a police officer was one of the possible ruse he planned to employ to entice a child into his car, with detectives even finding a fake police badge in the center console of his Tesla. Data obtained from the car revealed Forbes drove around the streets near his home, scoping out local schools and child care centers as he searched for a child he could snatch. He fitted dark tint to the windows of his Tesla, making it impossible to see inside, and made modifications to the car so it could record video of his surroundings as he drove. Those recordings, including a video of two children, aged 8 and 10, who were playing in the driveway of their own home in his neighborhood. He actually captured a still image from this video of these two neighborhood children. And this image was found in a folder on his computer titled X Marks the Spot, as if those are the children he intended to kidnap. In this same folder where they found that snapshot of those two little children, it also contained 51,000 files of Sam, involving children ranging in age from babies to 15-year-olds. When interviewed by police, he admitted to being attracted to children for more than 2 decades. The Sam on his device was of children in distress. A lot of it was. The judge described the images as being extremely depraved. These images and video involved innocent little infants that had no way of understanding what was even happening to them. And apparently they were sadistic videos and images of children. He enjoyed the sadistic side of things. 77,000 videos and images of innocent little children were found on his computer. These thoughts did not stop his desires, as some psychologists say, that it seemed to only enhance his disturbing fantasies. Forbes' lawyer stated in court that mind map and the research that he was doing was being used for writing a fictional novel. And the attic upstairs was being renovated for his cousin to move into, even though he had 3 extra bedrooms because he is a single guy. He had plenty of room. He had no need to renovate this attic for his cousin. Why would his cousin need a soundproof attic? The lawyer also said the fake police badges was because Forbes liked to play dress up. The lawyer tried to blame all this on a combination of alcohol and weed, and he pointed to the fact that Forbes had no prior criminal record. This depraved predator was only given 7 years and could be out on parole by 2029, which means that you Australians have about 3 years before you get a new neighbor who could be stalking your child's school. And that's scary, considering they said they give 15 years just for owning one of those dolls, and he had Sam and this doll, and he only got 7 and could be out on parole like in 3 years. That is so scary. Because it sounds like to me, he really, really has the desire to kidnap a child and do horrible things to them. And just because I felt like it, I believe I needed to add this predator on our list. Because I know some of your children are sitting on the computer right now playing Roblox. My child's a man now. Both of my sons are a man. But back in the day, we didn't know all this existed. And I let my son sit there and play Roblox alone. I had no clue. I had no idea of what can happen online back in them days. And that's scary. I mean, he never told me he encountered a predator, but he could have. And we have to be so careful when our kids are online because nowadays it's extremely scary.
The man who says he's a programmer for Roblox is behind bars on child pornography charges. Jamie Bourne is charged with 40 counts of porn possession as well as possession of a child's doll. According to arrest records, Bourne told investigators he is a programmer for the online gaming platform Roblox, which is geared toward children and teens. Bourne is booked into the Orleans Parish Justice Center with a bond of over $2 million. This comes after Attorney General Liz Merrill filed a lawsuit against Roblox Corporation in August for failing to protect children from sexual predators.
On February 25th, a routine probation check was done at the New Orleans home of 30-year-old Jamie Bourne. Bourne had been on probation for nearly 2 years for illegal use of a weapon. He threw airsoft and smoke grenades at 2 people in a tent, firing a pistol at them and yelling racial slurs in March 2023. When investigators entered his home, Bourne had a child-sized doll in a onesie sitting in plain view on his couch, twisted up and, in weird pose. When police questioned him about this, Bourne said he imported the doll from China and repeatedly stated that he was very lonely. Officers at the time did not realize having the doll was a felony. So, of course, you're in New Orleans. I don't know if there's anything illegal in New Orleans. I'm just kidding. I'm sure there is. I guess I'm thinking of Nevada or something. I think, instead of you guys. Sorry, but I don't know, there's some wild things that happen in New Orleans, too. I'm just going to say that. Anyway, these officers at the time did not realize having the doll was a felony. So after contacting a member of the Internet Crime Against Children's Task Force, they found out that it was a felony. So they came back to Bourne's house 2 days later, and Bourne was stupid. Very stupid. I'm sure he knew the doll was illegal, but yet the doll was still in plain view of the officers. Still sitting there with, this is gross, used condoms and unused condoms. And I guess he didn't want to get his doll dirty. I don't know. I don't even want to know the story behind that. Either that or children were involved, and I don't want to go there. Bourne then admitted to possessing Sam, at which point he was arrested. Investigators found more than 40 images and videos of Sam, as well as a web history of explicit searches. He admitted to working as a Roblox programmer, which makes you wonder what kind of vetting Roblox does, since they hired a criminal still on probation to do the programming for children's games. Roblox is denying that this guy worked for their company, and of course they would deny it since they're already in big trouble for this kind of thing. It's been going on for a while. I could go on and on about the predators that have been caught lately with these dolls, including the monster in Utah who was just caught because he decided to dump 2 child dolls at a local landfill. A week after they were dumped, a worker at the landfill came across a discarded box containing these dolls that looked like small children, and he called 911. I just wonder if he thought they were small children instead of dolls, because they do look really realistic. And perhaps he thought that he was looking at dead children. And we're working with another dumb predator because he had marked the shipping label, name and address out with the Sharpie, but the police said it was still completely illegible. So they got a search warrant and went to his home in Cedar City, where Shane Alexander Larson lived. They found a dozen of these dolls, a dozen. 5 of the dolls appeared to be children. When questioned by police, Larson allegedly admitted that the dolls found at the garbage dump were his and that he was the one who discarded them. He said he got rid of the dolls because they appeared to look too young, although he had 5 other child-sized dolls. So I don't know how he can get away with that excuse. Although Australia, the UK, Germany, Denmark, Norway, and the Netherlands have laws in place that make it illegal to ship these dolls into their countries, the U.S. has failed to pass a federal law banning these disturbing dolls. You're saying, Holly, well, all these men had dolls, but they never acted out their fantasies on real children. Well, at least that we know of. I can name plenty of men that had the dolls that actually did act out on children, and one of those will take a whole video alone. He is a French surgeon who had 70 child dolls in his home, and that didn't stop him from raping so many real children. And I'm thinking about doing my next video about him, actually. It's an insane case. Disturbing, though. Please, please don't end my video yet, because I want to talk about something really serious. So in 2017 in the U.S., the law known as the Creeper Act, which aimed to ban the importation and transportation of child dolls, passed the House but stalled in the Senate. On February 11, 2025, Creeper Act 2.0 was introduced to Congress again. As of March 22, 2026, the bill remains referred to the House with no further action. No hearings, no markup, no floor vote. It's effectively stalled in committee, consistent with prior versions. Customs sees some dolls at the border, but once they're inside, many fall through, especially in states that have not passed a law banning these dolls. So I don't understand what they're waiting on to pass this. We've been learning a lot about the Epstein case and how a lot of people might be involved in that. I just don't trust anybody anymore. All these fancy rich people with my children. And it makes me wonder why they won't pass this law. And I'm not taking sides. I'm talking about Republican and Democrat. Both a lot of creeps in both. We're going to be honest. Let's just go there. A lot of creeps in both. It don't pick a political side. You just are what you are. Could you please read the bill? It's straightforward. Then contact your House representative. You can find them at house.gov and your senators. A quick phone call, email, or even a short message like, I'm a person that's concerned about child exploitation. Please support this Creeper Act 2.0 so we can ban these child sex dolls federally. It takes minutes and it could make a real difference. I mean, as soon as I finish this video, I plan on doing the same. Thank you for watching and for caring and for taking action. Together we can push this forward. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and I'll see you next time at the Murder She Said. And before I go, of course I'm going to have to add my animals because so many people love them. Do you love your subscribers at the Murder She Said? Good boy. Do you love your subscribers? Do you love your subscribers at the Murder She Said? Good boy. Oh, you about bit me, Max. Okay, let's go in, guys. Come on. Come on, Tick. Let's go in. Let's go eat. Today, they got bologna, strawberries, and grapes. Lucky girls today. All right, guys, go up. Oh, they're telling me off today. Little female's telling me off. You see that little head? Telling me off. You're telling me off, aren't you, girl? Always the sassy one. The girls are always the sassy ones. There. Also, I made these amazing sugar cookies, and I put this cream cheese icing on them. And if you like chewy sugar cookies, they are the bomb. Homemade. I'm fixing to eat them, and I shouldn't. But I'll leave the recipe on the end. Because actually, you may not know about this about me, but I'm actually a good cook. And I thought about at one time making a cooking YouTube videos. Then I thought, I had to spend a lot of money on ingredients, and I'm not going to. My husband's going to.